I'm Captain Tom Richards of the LA County Fire Department. Thank you for coming to the Region 1, Region 6, Southern California opening fire season press conference. We're going to start the conference off by having LA County Fire Chief Daryl Osby come up. He's going to talk about an overview of the meeting. Chief.
Good morning, Chief Osby, Los Angeles County Fire Department. I'm also the Region 1 coordinator, and as articulated earlier, this is our annual Region 1, Region 6 meeting, which includes most of the major municipalities of Southern California, including local government, state, and federal entities. And the primary objective of today's meeting is to talk about our agreements, talk about the current fire season, and talk about the projections as it relates to this fire season. And it's already evident on the wildland fires that we've had to date that we're going to have a very volatile fire season. We're still in the third year of a drought. We measure our live fuels as it relates to our brush and our vegetation. And typically speaking, we don't get to a critical state until the fall, but we're projecting that we're going to get to a critical state in July of this year, which indicates that based on our projections that this region, we're going to have a very volatile fire season, probably the most volatile fire season as projected based on our 100-year history in Southern California. So it's very important that your local fire departments and your state of California and your federal entities are able to talk about our agreements, talk about our response to these incidents, to ensure that we have a seamless response to the wildland fires that are projected in this region, to ensure that we are good cooperators, and that we work very effectively as a team to ensure that we keep our firefighters safe, that we keep our citizens safe, and that we're able to protect and save as much property as possible in this region. And in addition to that, we will also need to ensure that our citizens also during this time of extreme fire weather help our local firefighters and other governmental agencies in this effort to ensure that they're safe, that we get through this very volatile fire season without any injuries or deaths here in this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. We'll now have Fire Chief Steve Early of Riverside. Chief will be talking about the Inland Empire. Chief.
Thank you and welcome, and thanks for being here to get our message out to the community and the public that we serve. Again, I want to reemphasize the fact that we are working together, all of our federal, state, local agencies, but we need to work together also with the public. They need to become our partner as we face one of the most significant fire seasons that we faced in many, many years. We've seen a significant increase in the amount of fires that we have within the inland region. We still have fire personnel out there working today as we're here meeting to help coordinate and prepare for the rest of the fire season. We need to ensure that the public gets out there and does their brush clearance and becomes a partner with the fire agencies. We appreciate the support that we get from the community as we enter into this fire season. Let me assure the public again that we are all working together. We're prepared, and as we move forward throughout this fire season, which we predict will be a much longer and more significant fire season, we need your help. Be alert out there. Be very safe when you're in these rural areas with dry brush. Again, thank you for the support, and please be alert out there, public. We can't ask that enough. Work together with us. When we ask you to evacuate, please ensure that you evacuate. It helps us get in there and do what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We'll now have Chief Ken Penmont from CAL FIRE. He'll be talking about CAL FIRE.
Good morning, Ken Pimlott, Director, CAL FIRE. And as you've heard here today, fire conditions in Southern California are at levels we have not seen in many, many years. That is the case across all of California this year. CAL FIRE has the responsibility with our partners that you see behind me in protecting 31 million acres of watershed land around California. These are predominantly the private lands, private ownerships that feed the watersheds, that provide clean water, provide air quality, all of that to everybody in California, including here in the Los Angeles Basin and the Inland Empire. So these aren't fires that just burn out in the forest and the brushlands. These are fires that directly impact the state's natural resources and the very water that we drink and the air quality and the air that we breathe. So it's critical that we heed everything that you'll hear today from all of the professionals behind me about being careful with fire. 94% of the fires are started by people. We often hear about lightning, we hear about Smokey Bear, all of those things. The bottom line, it's people that start fires, which means 94% of the fires can be prevented by just purely taking the kinds of preventative actions that you will hear about today. As you've heard already, we have kicked off fire season very, very early throughout California this year. We are looking at already having over 2,600 fires for about 51,000 acres. And for what that means in California is we are about 75% increase. We are at a 75% increase over what we would have normally over the last 5 years. So what this is telling us is that conditions are ripe. Now, we can't predict how many fires will occur, how big they will get, but we can predict that the potential is there. You're seeing vegetation and fuel conditions that are unprecedented in recent history. We can go back the last 40 to 50 years and we can look at some of the traditional fire seasons that have been large and damaging fire seasons. As we remember here in Southern California back to 2003, 2007, those were all years where we had very similar kinds of dry fuel conditions. Again, all we need are the right weather, and the fire starts. And that's what we're trying to get the message out to all of you today to help prevent. Governor Brown has made it very clear that he is prepared to support whatever we need, both at the state level and supporting our local government partners in the mutual aid response to protecting California and responding to these devastating fires. But we're asking everybody from the public to do their part. We often say we'll bring the offense. Those are the fire engines and all of the resources you see here today. But you need, as the public, to bring the defense. That means you need to do your part ahead of time to prepare so that firefighters have a fighting chance when they get there to protect your structure. If you go to the website, readyforwildfire.org, that has all of the information you need to prepare. Walks you through what to do ahead of a fire and what to do when the fire is occurring. You'll hear more from other partners here today about that. So bottom line is we are in very dry conditions throughout the state. We're seeing fires in Northern California burning in May that normally would have a foot of snow. And so all the fires in California, all of the impacts of our response throughout the state impacts what goes on here in California, because we are constantly moving the state's resources and our local government and federal resources throughout California in an unprecedented mutual aid system that is not found anywhere else in the country. It started right here in California. But there are only a limited number of resources available to fight any fire and respond to any disaster. So again, I reiterate, it's up to you as the public to do your part to help us prevent and mitigate these disasters from these fires. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Representing Calima, we'll have Chief Kim Zagaris.
Good morning. Today is another one of those days we seem to get together every year to be prepared for the fire service organizations to respond to not only wildfire emergencies, but all types of emergencies that impact the citizens of the state of California. We have a great luxury in having a premier mutual aid system anywhere in the world. But even our system is going to be tested this fire season by those wildfires. They're going to spring up, and they're going to need local government to respond to assist our state and local federal partners from around the state. Hopefully, it'll be a slower season than we're anticipating, but it doesn't look that way right now. The resources here have been working hard since the beginning of the year, going through training, getting their rigs themselves prepared to respond. But I cannot emphasize enough, as you've already heard, we're really looking for the citizens of the state of California and our visitors to be careful with fire, to give us a better chance to support them. It can only happen if those citizens take the precautions now as we get further into fire season. The conditions that we're experiencing now are only going to get worse, not better. Again, prepare themselves as we're preparing ourselves to support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Representing the U.S. Forest Service, Chief James Hall.
Good morning. Currently, right now, as you all know, Federal Resources, we not only support incidents here in the state of California, but we do support incidents nationwide. We're currently supporting fires in Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. Here in Southern California, on the Forest Service side, we currently have 2 large fires that we are currently working, one on the San Bernardino, the Hathaway Fire, and then we broke another fire yesterday on the Sierra National Forest. That's the Castens Fire. Currently, to date, we had 175 fires on National Forest System's land, and we've burnt over 36,000 acres since the start of the year. But to support our local partners, both state and federal, this year we'll be able to provide in Southern California here 6 Type 1 helicopters, 13 Type 2 helicopters, 3 Type 3 helicopters. We'll be able to provide 25 hotshot crews, 4 Type 2 IA crews, 185 fire engines, 3 Type 2 incident management teams, 5 Type 1 incident management teams. We did reintroduce night flying operations with the helicopter on the Angeles National Forest. That module went into effect yesterday. We also are introducing a new tool to all the agencies that are here. That's the fixed wing module. Well, that module will be able to fly at night and give intelligence to those incident commanders. Last Monday, CWC issued a fire and fuels advisory, and that is posted on the website. Everyone should take a look at that. That's very important. That's for not only all of Southern California, but it's also from the predictive service areas in Northern California. But when they issue advisories in May, things are changing. I'm going to echo what all my partners behind me have said. This is going to be probably a really busy fire season for us. You can help us all by, if you're asked to leave or whatnot, please take that to heart. You need to get out of those areas where you threaten harm's way. Another website that you can look at is fireadaptive.org. That'll give you some information on how to protect your homes and those sorts of things this summer. We will continue to support the resources in Northern California. They do have several incidents in Northern California, but today I'm strictly speaking for the resources available in Southern California. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chief. We'll now have from Ventura County Fire Department, Chief Mark Lorenzen. Chief.
Thank you. I think Chief Pimlott just hit the nail on the head when he talked a little bit about preparedness. So what I'd like to do is talk about preparedness, but do it by taking you back about a month and a half, May 2nd. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Springs fire that started in Ventura County early on that morning. And what you saw was 3 days later, and after 25,000 blackened acres, we came away from that fire with 0 structures. I shouldn't say 0 structures, 0 homes lost. And so the question needs to be asked, why? And I think if you turn around and you look at all the men and women here that are in uniform, that's part of the reason. But we don't do it on our own. The reason for our success is not only our professional firefighters, but it is also our partnership with a prepared community. That preparedness comes from a program that we call Ready, Set, Go. It can be found on most fire department websites. It can also easily be found by just Googling it on the internet. Ready, Set, Go is important. Ready means being prepared well in advance of any fire. Having a plan, having your important belongings already prepared in your mind, you know what you're going to gather up. Set means when you see smoke in the air or you hear about a fire, a wildland fire on the news, that you are in a new frame of mind and your car is packed and it is pointing the right direction in the driveway. And then finally, go. Go means leaving early before the fire reaches your home. listening to the TV and the radio and the media, and as soon as law enforcement asks for or requests a mandatory evacuation, you are on your way and gone. Again, our success depends on a partnership between the community and the men and women that put their lives on the lines for our communities every day. So remember that. Remember this thought going into this busy wildland fire season. Ready, set, go. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We're now going to have from LA Fire Department, Chief Mario Rueda. Chief.
Thank you. One of the areas that was discussed today at the meeting was aircraft, one of our most valuable resources in supporting ground resources. One of the decisions that was confirmed today was the bringing on early the contract aircraft. Between the city and the county, this county brings in 2 Super Scoopers, which many of you have seen, and the County of Los Angeles also brings in an Erickson helitanker, the big orange aircraft, as does the City of Los Angeles, also brings in a helitanker to support ground resources. We've agreed to try to bring those in by August 1st for the helitankers and August 15th for the Super Scoopers. Unfortunately, that may be dependent on logging commitments that the companies have and the Canadian fire season. So we'll watch that closely, but the commitment is to bring those resources in early. And that's in addition to the aircraft that we have that fly rescue missions, medical missions, and fire missions every day. You'd be proud of the aerial ballet that occurs overhead to keep those resources separated and safe. And as Chief Hall mentioned, they're now operating at night with night vision capability. So we do have a very robust aircraft complement here in Southern California, and the contract air are a critical part of that. I'm available for questions after. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That's going to conclude this portion of the conference. If you would like to speak individually to any chief.